Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of Rapeseed on Air, your Rapeseed podcast. My name is Rene Brand, I'm International Product Manager in Rapool and invite you to a new session of our podcast. Today I would like to discuss about a new project running here in Latvia called the Rapeseed Knowledge Center. If you are asking yourself, what does it mean? Yeah, welcome and enjoy listening our new session. Luckily, I'm not alone here today, and welcome to my guest, Elvis Lazdiņš from this Lazdini farm here in Latvia. He's the agronomas on that farm. Also, welcome to Oskars Balodis. He is the head of the crop farming department by LLKC, the rural advisory and training center here in Latvia, and my colleague Antanina, our product manager here in the Baltic countries and responsible for Rapool. Elvis, at first, many thanks that you give us the chance here today to make this podcast directly from your office. Yeah, it's freaking cold outside. Winter is arriving already in Latvia. We have outside -10. Was a big shock for me this morning, but luckily you got also quite a lot of snow. So I think your products, your crops outside, they are safe under this snow cover. Elvis, you are already second time in our podcast. I think it's still a good point. Please give us a little update about your farm and crop management.
Hello colleagues and viewers. It's my pleasure to welcome you here in my farm, in my office. Thankfully it's warm here, not like outside. And it was funny today, I was arriving to job and heard in the radio that they said there is no global climate change because it's so cold and so snowy, because we are also like you, we are accustomed to winters without snow for last years, but yeah, this year is different. About me, as you already mentioned, it's my second time in podcast. I am a farmer, agronomist in my family farm here in Latvia, central part of Latvia. We work on around 1,500 hectares, from which 1/3 is my farm and is located like 50 kilometers from here, where we are at the moment. Nothing special about the farm. I would say typical arable farm here in Latvia. three plant crop rotation, so it's pretty dense. Winter wheat, then goes all seed breed. Pretty small amount of spring crops, and that's what I want to change in the future. I want to increase amount of pulses we are growing here, so that we don't have this second wheat crop. So we have something in between. Regarding technology, I would say for oilseed rape we use only strip till. That's the only method we use. This year we experimented with plowing and seeding with the power harrow. Maybe this good autumn temperatures will bring something, but I have real doubts about those fields where plowing happened. Regarding winter wheat, I would say tillage depends on the situation we are seeing at that moment. I cannot say I'm a mean tiller or just pro plowing. It depends on the situation. On pre-crop weather conditions at the moment and the crop we are planning to see. So that's about it.
Thanks, Elvis. I think I also want to mention to our audience that you are a very good example of these young farmers with open mind, and you are interested also to transfer this kind of daily agriculture working to the society. Because of that, you start also something for this kind of social media actions. You run an own YouTube channel, you make videos where you speak about agriculture and challenges in agriculture. So a little bit to give more knowledge to the society. How important is for you this new communication via Facebook, Instagram, YouTube?
I would say it's really important, but it depends on the content you're making. For example, my kind of content, when I show what we are doing as farmers in our fields, in our job, it's important to get over this gap when there's a society and there's a farmers. There's no in between, and I think that's wrong, and that's why I started this project, just to show how hard we work to produce food that we all eat. That's my main task, because I feel that today society thinks that food comes from out of space, just appears on their table in their fridge. But that's not how it happens. We put a lot of effort just to produce some amount of cereals, oilseed rape, or meat, whatever. That's a lot of work behind all that food, and that's what I want to show. That we're not just sitting around and doing nothing. It's pretty hard work. If we speak about your type of projects, I would say it's also really important, because nowadays we all plan our time, and these face-to-face seminars or some other activities, it takes a lot of time, and we cannot be everywhere anytime. So this is I would say it's a right way how to approach our clients, customers, farmers. They can watch this when they want it, in their own bubble, and without disturbance, without anything. That's a nice thing.
I totally agree, Elvis. Please continue with that, and audience, please, if you have time, go on his channel and have a look on that. I really can recommend that. Elvis, many thanks for the beginning. Antanina, let's come to you. You arrived very late yesterday evening. You were participating on an international business meeting, and also in your position then as Rapeseed product manager. Antanina, I'm curious. I know a little bit. Rapeseed has a special position here in the Baltic countries in the crop rotation, and I would like to also ask you. Could you give us a little bit an update about the current status of the rapeseed outside in the fields?
That's not a secret. We are still in the leading position in our farmers' crop rotation in all Baltic countries. Mm-hmm. And if you compare previous year acreage, this year, of course, numbers are increasing because of difficult weather conditions during sowing. That's a main thing. But thankfully, because of long autumn, we have observations that in Lithuania and Estonia there's around 70% of very good and good fields, and in Latvia there's even better situation. There's around 90% of fields which mean very good and good. So that's nice numbers.
Thanks for this first updates, and really good to see that Rapeseed was manage or was possible to manage these difficult conditions this year. I think this position as the second biggest crop here in the Baltic countries is definitely unique in comparison to all the other countries, rapeseed producing countries in Europe. But this very outstanding position at the biggest breaking crop in the rotation, but then also biggest one behind winter wheat, create also year by year new challenges. How was it this year? What was the main challenge for the rapeseed farmers?
Yeah, this year was special year, I could say, and requires good news for everyone. Starting in spring, there were a drought, then it comes the late rainfall, and then again there were a drought in the autumn, what means that cereals were harvested later than usually, but also case that while ostrich was sowed also later than usually. So such problems, they are hard for farmers, and even germination level was low and not even, because if you compare with our average, there were around 50% less rainfall than usually in all three Baltic countries. So just imagine what it means for farmer. So those kind of problems, they are not usual for our Baltic countries.
Yeah. So that as you mentioned, tough situation, and there was then a lot of problems then for the farmers. What can Rapool do here in such cases to support the farmers?
We are market leader, so we're supposed to give answers for our distributors, for our farmers, first of all. But keeping in mind that ostrich is popular more than 20 years, we're still having such kind of questions. So we have an idea to create rapeseed knowledge center, which could help for farmers to give answers to such questions. Like this year, late sowing problems. When we can the latest sowing ostrich, what those rates we're supposed to use, and so on. So that's the idea behind why we decided to create such a project. It's very helpful that we have such open-minded farmers as Elvis, and together with Elvis and together with independent consultant Oskars, we think that it could be a nice project for everyone and could give benefits, of course, for farmers, for distributors, and for us as a company. Okay.
If I look a little bit to the market and see, I think that's a very new project here for Baltic markets, and I think it's really good that we started here from Latvia, somehow a little bit in the middle from Baltic market. I'm a little bit curious about Rapeseed Knowledge Center. Can you give us a little bit more background? What can farmers understand from this project?
Yes. The thing is that we have a lot of data from everywhere, from Germany, from our countries, but sometimes, they are not trustworthy because, okay, that's not Latvia, that's not Lithuania, that's not our Baltic countries. So that's, again, idea behind. Maybe we can create something new, something local, where, we can invite everyone, all farmers who has interest to learn one step more. So let's start with late sowing project, because that was the topic #1 this year. And maybe next year we will continue, not maybe, I know that we will continue, because such kind of questions we are receiving all the time. And maybe there will be another topic for us, which we all together, like a big family, would try to find answers. So that's nice benefits for all countries.
Thanks, Antanina. Very good summary of this new project here. Oskars, rapeseed and sowing dates, that is definitely not new for you. It's something like back to the roots. You already investigate this combination and possible effects during your PhD process. You are now today participating, Antanina mentioned that, as an independent advisor to help us to create reliable local figures. I'm now curious, where do you see the benefits for the Latvian farmers?
It's nice to be here and participate in this podcast. To answer to your questions, there are different kinds of benefits for farmers to be involved in such project. For farmer view, it's always nice to see in field, to see this year what does it mean late sowing date, and also what does it mean nice early vigor development. So it's written in the descriptions of varieties. It sounds very good, and we suggest to advise farmers to choose different varieties for later sowing. But does it work, how to say, in field? And thank you to you that I remember the 12th of August we decided. I said that it would be nice to see how this new varieties perform on the field. And two weeks later, it's already together with Elvis, it was already established, and then we could see. And September was very tougher. Also, they are growing. It was very cool, how to say. This beginning of the sowing was very dry, but also we made some measurements, and later we can discuss it.
Yeah, Oskars, we are very thankful for your participation. We can imagine that you have a lot to do outside in the field to improve as an independent advisor the knowledge here of the Latvian farmers. Now you are part of this little project. We started with sowing this year, and you spent already several hours outside in the field in the last months to make these different assessments. Now I think it's the right moment to explain a little bit to our farmers and to the audience. Yeah, okay, what did we establish in the field this year on Elvis farm? Can you give us a small update, especially for this late sown rapeseed, what we established there?
Yeah, we have two, in this field we have two sowing, say, time. It's an optimal sowing time with different kind of varieties, and then special varieties for late sowing. And it was established in 25th of August. Believe it, it's very late for our conditions. It's very late. There were I think 3 varieties, different sowing densities to reach optimal biomass, and some seed treatment as well.
Okay, thanks, Oskars. Yeah, Elvis, you are the main person here, and thanks to you we can discuss that now. Today I remember very well. I think it was somehow 5 minutes before 12. I give you the phone call, explain the idea, and then everything goes very quick, and you give us quite big pressure. So we had to send you then via express the seeds, and to manage that. Oskars mentioned 25th of August. I'm curious now, what are the main expectations from your side, and why did you participate to that?
You already answered that question. The main reason is because I'm so open-minded, and that's the main thing. And the second thing is it's easy to persuade me to do something. I say just yes and think about it only afterwards. But I'm really glad, and I really believe that we will get good results and good extra knowledge. Why it's important for me, as Antanina already mentioned, we have a lot of data from other countries. That's a different climate. You said yourself that you came from Germany, it was +5. Here it's -10, yes. Already in December. It's huge difference in temperature, snow coverage, all those things. Of course, we in Baltic states we want to have our own data. And I would say this is the first step, just to make this trial in real farm conditions with my technology, how I produce them. And yeah, you made just in time, so I can leave some spare acreage on the field, so we can make this late sowing trial. And yeah, that's for me as myself. I like it because I tend to be one step ahead from other farmers, and it's in my own field. I can get the data firsthand, and it's really interesting. And I believe the knowledge is a huge part of what we do. Farming is based on knowledge, on data, and as Oskars already mentioned, the main thing would be that the descriptions will stand up for their words and prove that these varieties are so vigorous and can develop a normal amount of biomass for over winter.
Farmers around look to you here in this area, and now we made this late sowing project 25th of August. I'm curious, did some of your neighbor farmers say, "Come on, are you crazy? What are you doing there so late?"
There were some comments, but I wouldn't say that someone is looking how I farm. It's important for me to take a participant in some kind of events like this, just to get this extra knowledge and test something new. But I got some comments that we should have seeded even later. Because I remember, and my father also remembers, that in early 2000s, 25th of August, yeah, it was a late, but it was from 5th till 25th, you can see oilseed rape. I would say for last 3 or 5 years, that day would be too late. Thanks to Oskar's program, I can see that for this year, it was, I would say it was till 12th till 5th August, that was optimal term. After that, it was a risky game. But of course, we cannot predict the future, unfortunately, and autumn brings warm weather, and all plants developed as they should and developed really good.
Ladies and gentlemen, there was also one idea from our general manager, Nikolai, to have more this direct contact to the farmers and to give them a chance for some kind of a training outside in the field. So based on that, we had already with this little project in October and very successful first autumn come together, I would say. Yeah, it was. I remember pretty well when we had phone calls in September to start thinking about, let's do some autumn field day. You present to me big concerns and doubts about development, because, ladies and gentlemen, the rapeseed was in September really weak, showed very slow development. There was inhomogeneous emergence, everything. Elvis, Oskars, did you believe on that project by the end of September?
I have to say no. That's why I called you. I had real doubts about that, because the program also showed that the plants will reach only 4-leaf stage in 29th of October. So I would say they won't overwinter. That they just cannot survive winter. But the weather or Mother Nature may make some changes.
Yeah, that's true. Oskars, honestly, did you believe end of September on that project?
I would say 50-50. It's that kind of sentence. Because I visited regularly this field, and just it's near from my when I go to work. I visiting, step on the field and look at during September. It's nothing happened. We discussed with Elvis how it will be, but then The October was with nice temperatures, even the beginning of November was very good. No any frost, no any minus degrees during night. And then somehow this light sowing part of the field reached the optimal number of leaves, 8 and even more. Also, yeah, and we did some measurements before winter as well.
You mentioned that measurements. I know that you are still working on your analysis from this assessment out in the field, but now today we're sitting here together. I'm curious already, could you share some very early figures from your analysis with our audience?
Yeah. Firstly, it's like demo field, it's not scientific, and so you have to say there are we did some measurements, we measured quite a lot number of plants, that it could be believable numbers. Yes. I think we measured from each variety 30 plants pulled out, we counted leaves, measured root neck diameter, this growth point as well, biomass as well. Yeah, there are some for later sowing. There is one favorite variety which I like, which shows for me quite convincing results. That it's good for late sowing. Yeah, I can mention for now it's Duplo is quite. I like it, especially in later sowing. Normal sowing, it's also okay, but for later sowing, Duplo shows nice biomass results. Yeah.
I have to ask you one more. You mentioned biomass. What can the farmers understand that? What did you do with biomass? How can I imagine that?
Yeah, it's actually it's old and actually again it's quite new topic to weight biomass from the 1 square meter.
Yes.
Because it's somehow connected with nitrogen management in autumn and then in next spring. Because you know this fertilizer topic is on the table already because of the high prices of fertilizers, and we optimal biomass that correlates with the yield. We will see it next year.
But ladies and gentlemen, I will try it one more time. Oskars, you make measurements for the normal sowing and late sowing. Can you say a little bit in general, how much biomass was it then in average for normal sowing varieties and then for the late sowing? How big is the difference?
Firstly, I was thinking that there will be huge difference, but actually it wasn't so. For example, average biomass for optimal sowing was close to 2 kilograms per square meter. It's very nice biomass. But in later sowing, it's also reached more than 1 kilogram, even from 1 square meter. I was surprised, but it was so.
Thanks, Oskars. Anyways, small question. How did you make it with crop management? How much fungicides did you use? Application too?
I used in this normal sowing day. I used PGR,
yes.
But in late trials, at that moment when we had to put PGR, the temperatures were cold. The forecasts showed the same, that it won't have any warm temperatures. So we decided to don't go with PGR on late sowing trial.
And for the normal sowing, one application.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Elvis. Antanina, you participate also on this assessment, on the final assessment where we checked our different parameters before winter. I would like to know what are your personal observations from this assessment?
Yes, we can. that's not a secret. I came from a field research station of pesticides, so that's nothing new for me to stand outside in the field and assess the plants. But that was a new experience to go together with Oskars and assess a little bit differently, because visually it looks like different varieties, they pretty much the same. But when you physically measure, such parameters as root length, as growing point, when you count leaves in different growing stations, it shows how big differences are between different varieties and between different soil times. And that surprised me a lot. And now let's just wait spring and see our results.
Yeah, you're right, Antanina. Thanks for your feedback. I would like to ask Elvis, Oskars, one more last question. Oskars, you mentioned that we have a difference, 2 kilogram biomass for the normal sown rapeseed, 1 kilogram, which is somehow the minimum also for this late sowing rapeseed. What do you think personally? Can we imagine that this normal sown rapeseed, double kilogram green biomass, double development, is then showing also double yield?
I really doubt that. There definitely will be some difference, but not by much.
Okay. And Oskars, you as our expert here in this group, what is your opinion?
Okay, my previous studies and experience shows that there will be quite a huge difference between the yield, but we'll see. I hope there will be no double gap between yield. But still, we have just the beginning of the winter. We'll see how it is. Sometimes for bigger plants, it's even tougher for winter because of big snow and so on.
Thanks, Oskars. Yeah, from my side, many thanks for this nice and interesting discussion, ladies and gentlemen. I can summarize now here our podcast today. Rapeseed Knowledge Center. We made already the first step, a small project running here in Latvia for Latvian farmers. I think I can underline that in that way. We accept this request from our farmers to speak here really about local experiences. Of course, in the past we present to you so many data from Germany and Poland and Czech Republic for our varieties, but finally we missed a little bit this regional touch. So now with this big support from Elvis, from Oskars, we have now a collaboration to produce reliable data and to give them the right advices to you for these challenges which you have to face here every year under the Baltic conditions. Yeah, late sowing was the hot and main topic this August, especially then in the second part of August. It came day by day more and more these questions. So we realized now, first step with this little project. And first assessments show already, there is a difference of 1 kilogram. But what does it mean? Ladies and gentlemen, 2 kilograms, as Oskars mentioned, based on scientific experience, we can somehow imagine there is an uptake of 100 kilogram nitrogen per hectare versus 50 kilogram nitrogen per hectare in the late sowing rapeseed. What does it mean? A lot of questions definitely for next year. We haven't planned winter seminars. We want to do spring field days before we will have then the traditional summer field day here also in 2023. Yeah, many thanks from my side. Was a big pleasure. I think this small project is interesting. Luckily, we made successful the first step. And yeah, now we have to wait what Mother Nature is doing for us. But I think there's definitely a lot to discuss next year, winter seminars, spring field days. I wish you all the best for 2023. The right finger feeling for you and your Rapeseed, and of course, stay healthy, your Rapeseed assistant.